Okay, now we talked about NFTs, and I would like to talk about something else. I'm saying always digital fashion is our new opportunity, but we have some little challenge. What we want to talk about is interoperability. So I would like to know of you both what you think about that and what means seamless interactions across different virtual environments and so on. But first of all, I would like that you present yourself.
Yes, thank you for having me on stage. My name is Leo Hilse. I'm the founder of Style Protocol. We also have a tiny booth, or two roll-ups right over there where you can learn more about us. And this is pretty on brand. My whole jam is interoperability. What we're doing with Style Protocol is virtual asset interoperability and utility of fashion assets and avatar across all kinds of virtual environments, games, and metaverses. I arrived here after a few years in crypto and several more years as a founder. Yeah, and this is the venture I'm currently building.
Very interesting also that we met years ago organizing fashion technology events, right?
Yeah, true, yeah. In fact, there was a time where we had this series of fashion tech events, I don't know, 2020 here in Berlin already. And then back then fashion tech was only well, not only, but sustainability and usability of digital fittings in e-commerce environments, whereas now we're at gaming and complete asset utility, which is pretty cool.
Cool. I mean, we know you already.
Should I introduce myself again? I don't think so.
But you could explain what it means, interoperability.
I think maybe Leo starts. He's better in that. Like, he's deeper in that topic.
Interoperability.
What he does,
yeah,
right?
that's literally all we do. So here's where we're going to be in a few years. Like 5 to 10 years from now, all of us are going to have virtual identities in multiple different digital environments, metaverses, games, social platforms, virtual meeting rooms, you name it. And there's going to be digital assets that you have in either of these virtual environments. But having an avatar and a set of clothing for every specific environment that you go to is tedious and shouldn't be attainable. The goal should be that you have an asset or an avatar and you move it from one world to another. So very practically speaking, if you purchase a Gucci hoodie for 3K, an NFT, and you can only use it in Sandbox, that's shit. You want to be able to also wear it in your Zoom call. You want to be able to take this Gucci asset to Fortnite. You want to be able to lend it out to maybe your colleague or someone else for a virtual B2B event, a networking event. And this is what we do with Style Protocol, so this interoperability of digital assets. And this is what interoperability, per definition, is what should be the future and the goal of virtual assets.
Yeah, I would maybe add to this like the technical background as well. Like the project that we're running is on a chain on Ethereum, for instance. But I mean, if the journey would end like right on this chain, we couldn't go anywhere else. Like, you know, like we have to find a way. Like, how do we bridge this project to other blockchains? That's something of interoperability as well, I would say.
Okay, let's see. Let's go for an example. We have Marcane in this Berlin Metaverse. So what is now the difficulty for them to move to other metaverses or whatever, to Roblox or Fortnite? What should they do? Just to understand it for everyone.
Sorry, I was zoning out. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, we have now, for example, Marcane exposing with the booth. They have their digital clothing. So what is now the problem for them if they would now go to Roblox? They cannot just take their clothing there and go there. What is the difficulty for them? Or how should they solve that also?
There's multiple difficulties. So on the one hand, you have the very obvious one. If you have different virtual environments, you potentially have also different hardware settings and different engines that you're running on, as in like software systems. So from iOS, you're moving, I don't know, to Xbox or to PC. Then you have blockchain issues potentially, if it's on-chain, or it could even be on-chain plus off-chain. So you have the layer of how do you deal with an asset that's actually off-chain, such as Roblox is an example where you can have virtual assets, but they're off-chain. And then on top of that, which is probably the most critical one, is the 3D visualization of the assets in these different virtual environments. So if you look at this over there, this virtual world that Yona has built, you see how this piece of fashion looks on this. Turn around, all of you, look at this. Look at how this piece of fashion looks on this avatar. And then if someone can stand in front of these like virtual screens on the other side of the room, and you'll see these pieces of fashion, they also look different in this environment. And then if you imagine Roblox, which was the example given by Anna, it's a very bloxulated style. And managing the transition of these virtual assets and how they look in different environments is probably the most difficult thing.
So you mean like the visual style?
The visuals, yeah, I made it very complicated. You can turn around now, we're talking again.
It's over.
Do you have something to add?
Maybe more or less the same thing I said before, but Leo said the same, like the technical aspect. Like imagine you have your metaverse over there and that's all on Ethereum, and then there's another metaverse, but it's on Solana. What are you going to do? So if you build one of these projects, like you should really, in order to be interoperability, you should really focus on what's the right chain for you. Yeah, EVM.
So they cannot just change. If Marcane is now here and tells us they want to change the environment and to go to another one, what should we say them?
They should talk to Leo.
They should use our product, yeah.
So now we're coming to you. What is Style Protocol doing?
So Style Protocol is infrastructure that solves this problem. That's all you need to know. You go to our website, you take the asset in whatever form it is. It can be a 3D asset, GLB, FBX, FCX, or it can be an NFT already on-chain, Solana, EVM compatible. Yeah, we've done a lot of shit actually. So whatever asset you have, you take it on our platform, and then you choose the virtual world that you want to have it available in, and then we do the magic for you, and then the asset is going to be available in this environment.
Okay, do you also work with interoperability?
We kind of do. I mean, we're building an NFT community, as I mentioned before, but what we do, like, so this project that we're building again, that's all based on Ethereum, which is the most expensive, but in my opinion, the best chain to work on. And then what we do, like, we engage our NFT holders, our community members, to drop us their equivalents on other chains, on Solana, on Polygon, Flow, you name it. We encrypt them. And then whenever there is a project, let's say on this screen, which is again on Ethereum or something, and there is a customer coming up, yeah, but we want our fashion brand to be on another chain, we can then say, that's all right, like marketing-wise, we can continue your journey because we have the equivalents of our holders decrypt. So that's, I would say this is kind of interoperability, it's such a hard word.
Yeah, I know.
But it works. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. How can we go forward? We have all these fashion companies. What would you say them, or what would you tell them? How can they really use digital fashion, and what makes them successful? Because we are always saying with digital fashion they can be more profitable as they are now, and it's the better way for them to do business. So that works only if they sell in all environments they can find, right? Or what do you say? What is the future for them? How should they work?
There's a lot of stuff I want to say. I'm not sure what I should say. Depending on the strategy, a fashion brand doesn't necessarily need to be available everywhere. But let's say you have a mid-range brand, such as, I don't know, Champion or Lacoste, something that a lot of people can identify with. Maybe you would want to have a digital collection available in as many virtual environments as possible. But let's say you have a high luxury brand. By design, you might only want to tackle a certain virtual environment. So this really depends on the strategy. That being said, everything should be possible. So every brand should have the opportunity to go into every environment if they needed to. But I want to say something towards the actual base of your question, which is that I don't think the issue that brands right now have when it comes to digital fashion and virtual assets is the fact that it's technically difficult or the market is not there. I think the problem we have with almost as in all other industries when it comes to innovation is the mindset and the difficulty to want to disrupt. this is maybe a personal opinion, but I think for the majority of brands, what you would do in a situation like this, where we're at a frontier of a completely new digital age of virtual identities, you don't want to take, in many cases, your classic brand and move it into the virtual world. Like this is the first time for brands in history to be given a chance to completely reinvent themselves on so many levels. Like the stuff that you can do virtually is awesome. You can have a sneaker that has a little Saturn rotating around it because it's dope, you know, like on a Nike, or this is Adidas. Or you can have a hoodie that has like neon patterns that are pulsating. You can do all this incredible stuff. And you guys have done so many of these things with Yona AI, but yet when we've talked to brands, they hit us with, oh, how can we take this like physical collection into like the metaverse? And it's, I mean, if they don't want to do it, we don't even have to start, kind of.
What are the brands you are working with?
We work mostly, or the ones that were fun in the past were the individual designers that were open to these like spacious designs and to doing stuff that's not bound by the physical layer.
Yeah.
We've actually had talks with brands, and I'm not going to name them for strategic reasons, but there's people in this room that know about this. We've talked to brands and that have given us just this exact pitch that I was saying before, and we failed to pursue something with them because they couldn't facilitate this level of innovation of going into these virtual environments on a new frontier.
Yeah, I know what.
But I don't want to trash on like the fashion brands or the industry. I'm just saying if there's something new, you should jump into it. But not a lot of people do.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
there's little mindset. We don't have the mindset in the industry. And if you talk about middle range brands,
yeah, and I'm assuming that a lot of fashion brands are also scared, which makes sense because they have something to lose, right? If you have a heritage like Hermes or I don't know, there's also a lot of stuff that can go wrong if you don't do it right. But you know, if you don't try it, you'll never know.
you have a lot of experience with education, right?
Yeah, you work with more brands than us, with like the classic people. We just work with Web3 nerds.
I think as soon as there is a growth insight, then it doesn't matter if you're a fashion brand or a car brand or whatever. I mean, if you have a running system which brings you money, then you don't change the system. But as soon as you see growth, potential growth, like in Web3 with NFTs or whatever, then they will change. I'm pretty sure like every brand would do that. But like according to fashion, I see two use cases actually right here, right now, which is very simple. It happens already. A is that in this Web3 social media space, that new fashion things like new sneakers from Adidas or something are invented virtually. Like no one has ever seen them before. Before it was the way, like, okay, it's a physical product, as I said before, you send it to an influencer and then everyone can see it and you can buy it. But then the new things on Adidas, it goes the other way around. There's something virtually, there's a hype created with NFT communities around a digital product that no one has ever touched before because it's not existing in real life. And then all of a sudden you can buy it. So you create the growth, the awareness first digital in Web3, and then you can buy it. This happens already. And this, I think, every fashion brand can do that. I would even say that the smaller brands should do that, because if the bigger ones don't do that, then it's potential growth for the smaller ones. This is A. And then B, another maybe NFT use case, but that's more technical background, is like proof of authenticity. Like saying, okay, those are the real shoes. They are fake. But that's technically anyone, that's just a blockchain thing. But when it comes to growth and media and all these things, then again, I think if you create something in the virtual world and then later on you can buy it in the shop, then that's super cool.
Yeah.
And Adidas has done this for a year almost, and it's really
You wanted
cool
to say something?
I just want to emphasize this small brands thing, because this is really important. A lot of you are maybe here because they're designers or you guys are building your own fashion brands. Like you, and I think none of us in this room can understand the amount of like change in virtual realities and how much time we with our digital identities are going to be spending in virtual worlds in the future. And if you start a brand now and you're going into the direction of classic IRL fashion, like, yeah, that's great, cool, maybe it's going to be a little bit special, and maybe I'm going to make enemies with the statement that I'm going to make now, but if you're not looking at virtual fashion and doing stuff in video games for the customers of the future, you're being an idiot. Because the big brands, they're doing it, Nike, Adidas. This is the chance for you guys to jump on something that's going to be fucking gigantic in the future. And you should do this before you have the big brands take and shark their way up in front of you.
Totally, that was the best word at the end of the whole panel discussion. Do you want to give the brand something?
There's nothing to add, to be honest. I think what I mentioned before, like be creative. I mean, fashion people are creative by nature, I would say. So if you create something, if you use a digital power and then understand how to transform this digital power, this digital value that you create, and store it on a chain, then there is potential growth, and it's actually pretty near. I don't even know if it has to be a game at the moment, to be honest. It can be, of course. Gaming is huge, but it can be much, much more simple. If I was starting a brand right now, I would rather focus on the very simple use cases, because you can do the complex stuff in a couple of years from now, when everyone else is in the game.
Yeah, Snapchat filters, Zoom, Instagram filters, anything but virtual.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.